Hello everybody, it's me Darcy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this the Unnamed Podcast. Time of the week where I sit here with this and we talk rubbish or whatever else comes to my mind, usually my mind.
Occasionally mine. Rarely mine.
Welcome back.
Once in a blue moon.
Guys, it's a new week. Stuff has happened. So we're going to start things off the way we often do with a little bit of channel news. Kris, take it away.
Indeed. So this week, on Monday, was Coral Island.
It was Coral Island.
We get back in and we start autumn.
Yeah, we're in autumn. Turns out
Yeah.
I did my math wrong. And when I say I did my math wrong, guys, give me a break. I didn't actually do my math wrong. It's just, you know how games where they're like, they condense like seasons into like just a like 3 months into a season, and it's like you get one season. Yeah, well, you know how usually it's like, okay, you get 30 days of a season because that's about a month, and like, yeah, that's a season. A month is the season. You're like, not really, but okay, I understand.
Close enough, yeah.
I understand you saying like, we don't want to do 365 days of this shit.
But it's fair, understandable.
Well, there's a tendency, and I think it's honestly, I swear these people have to be Southern Hemisphere game developers because they've made the summer 28 days. So on the 29th, so instead of having 29 days and then the last day, it's like on it ends before everything else does. I'm like February.
Wait, only in summer?
But only in summer.
Why not just do a 4-week cycle then?
Well, that's what I was
the 8 weeks would... The 28 days would make sense for doing just a 4-week cycle, but just only do that once?
That's sort of what I was thinking, but I was like... Because the first time, it was like, oh, it's the 30th day, that's the end, no more season. And this time, I'm like, okay, so tomorrow is the 29th, so that's my last real day of being able to do anything. And then, nope, season end, all my crops that I thought I had one more day to let mature die.
So what I'm hearing is last time when I was sort of getting up you for leaving one day, you didn't actually leave one day. You just fucked up.
Apparently not, which was a little bit upsetting to me because I was like, I had, like, when I was doing stuff, I was like, okay, yeah, it's the 25th, so, sorry, no, it was like the 23rd or something. And I was like, oh, cool, these things take 6 days to grow. They'll be harvested on the last day, right? I thought that was, no, they all died, and I was like, fuck. So anyway, that happened. I cleared out my stuff, planted the new crops. That's all well and good, that doing things I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good session. I recorded it after a day at softball because I got back. Like, last week was a hell of a week for me in terms of editing. I can't remember why. It's something happened last week, and I was like, shit, okay. And everything kind of got like expedited, and it was like, oh shit, I'm just making everything work. And so Saturday, I'm like, okay, I got softball. I went to softball. I got home, and I was like, shit, I got homework to do. So I did homework, and then I went, oh shit, I've got to record something for Monday. And so I recorded something for Monday. Then Sunday, I spent all day doing homework and editing it. Do you know what I mean by doing homework? I had a math assignment that's due today, if you're watching this, and I did part A and was like, fucking easy. Like, it was 4 questions. I did it in, like, literally 20 minutes. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, what's part B? That should be a cake sitter. It's only worth 6 marks. Yeah, part B was all of the homework from the last 2 weeks, which was 9 chapters of work. Roughly, like, I think it was like 50 questions a chapter.
Jesus.
So I was like, fuck.
So, quite a long time that one took.
So, yeah. All the work was, guys, it's intro to algebra, pretty much.
So easy stuff.
So piss easy. But just lots of it. And like when you're trying to do something as a portfolio, because that's what they class it as, a portfolio, you don't just like scribble it in and stuff like I would if I was actually just doing homework for myself. I would just like scribble and take no time. This is like get my layout at least right so that it looks a little bit professional.
Yeah.
Which means that, yeah, it's a pain in the fucking ass. And, yeah, so I saw that and went, oh, you are absolutely fucking kidding me. What kind of bullshit is this? So I had a lot of homework to do over a week, and as well as all the other shit I had to do.
Yeah.
And if anyone's like, well, you should have done your homework at the time, fuck off.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
First of all, let me tell you a little thing about homework. Homework is for those who don't know. If you know, you don't need to do homework. And considering my job is helping other people do their homework,
true,
and all of it, like I'm not even being like a dickhead right now. All of my students in high school have harder work than what I'm doing in my university course right now.
That sounds right.
So it's like, yeah, I go and deal with derivatives and integrals and all that shit all day. Then I come home and it's like, what's 5 plus X? Fuck off. I'm not fucking doing that. I don't need to waste my time doing that. There are people out there who are like, oh, I don't know what that is, so I better do my homework. Good for you. Do your homework.
Yes.
But for someone like me, I'm going to look at the homework, I'm going to look at it and be like, dude, I got this. Fucking, I'm not struggling with any of this. I ain't doing your homework.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, so anyway. So yeah, I was really tired, and honestly, I was just, I was in tired mode, being like, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
But yeah, like I think at one point I started talking about hitting people with the soft side of my hammer.
Wait a second. Please. Start doing that.
It was a threat. It was like,
I know it's a threat.
You attack me, I'll hit you with the soft side of my hammer. Because obviously there is no soft side to a hammer.
Maybe it's the timber handle. It is softer than the metal.
No, the hammer I use in the game is like it's mono material. So the soft side of my hammer is the same as the hard side of my hammer, but I just feel like that's a better.
Maybe threat. It's the corner, just hitting in the correct spot.
Yeah, so it feels soft when you die instantly.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it was just this threat that I don't even realize. Like, I don't know where it came from. I was just doing it. I'm like, well, I'm gonna hit you with the soft side of my hammer because you pissed me off. And then, like, autumn started because I refused to call it fall, but autumn started.
I did recall hearing you say that.
Yeah. And I'm like sitting there, and this little dude rocks up, and he's having a go at me. He's like, I'm a better farmer than you. And I'm like, man, I'm a shit farmer. What the fuck you want from me? Then he like looks at my farm with all its dead plants, and he's like, wait, are you even taking this seriously? I'm like, obviously fucking not. And basically he kept going like that, and I'm like, listen here, little man, I'm gonna hit you with the soft side of my fucking hammer.
Look, if he had said 2 more lines insulting you, you would have hit him with the hard side of that.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When I'm in a game like that, and I'm like, it's hilarious to me that they're like, oh, this is the 3 responses we give you. Like, I'm not sure, yes, and yes, but a little bit sarcastic. I'm like,
yeah.
No. When you're writing these characters, and you gotta get someone like me who's like, little bitch, I'm gonna show you.
Yeah.
Because not enough games, and I don't understand why.
Fair.
Game developers all have Twitter. They know what the average gameplay is like.
True.
We are not meek little babies who are gonna be like, oh, well, if you say so, that's what we're doing. No, we're like, bitch, I will come at you, and I will come at you hard. Where's that option in the game?
Maybe it'll start coming in after that, the game with the AI. Like, you doing the,
I will ruin you. But anyway, so he had to go at me and my farm, and I was like, listen here, little man.
What do you think with that game?
What game?
The game where it's... Oh, I can't remember what it was called now, but we looked at it.
Oh, yeah.
With the AI, it's like...
Yeah.
Is it going to have breakdown?
God, I would lie.
Like, that would be hilarious if it did.
As I've said many times, I like the concept of using AI in video games as, like, because...
The way they're using it.
The way they say, like, I don't particularly agree with using AI to develop video games.
Oh, no, not to develop.
But, like, your video game needs AI in it for the NPCs and everything anyway.
Yes.
I would 100% go for, like, yes, have an AI that runs those guys. Now, your AI has to get a lot better, like a lot better, so that it understands that, like, oh, I was just conversing with this character, and now I'm conversing with this character. And it's like, well, let me just allow these two characters to have this, continue that conversation, because you're now talking to a character I control. It's like, no, different character, different conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I know AI still has issues with that kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not understanding that, you know, when you say to a character goodbye, and then go and talk to another character, it's like, oh, you've finished that conversation, and they'll often start, or like carrying on, because it's like, got a set thing. It's like, oh, well, this is how this person reacts to you. And it's like, oh, we just had like a 3-hour conversation. We aired our laundry. We good now? And it's like, you start up and they're like, what the fuck are you doing here? You're like, I thought we were good.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is, I want to see that coming into games, because I think that is the AI that actually will make games better.
Oh,
not AI like, yeah, so, we didn't pay an artist to make this painting. Yeah, obviously I can tell. Well, how can you tell? Because all the people's faces be fucked up.
Also, that one has 6 fingers.
Yes. So it's like, I don't want AI... Like, as I said, there's ways AI works in game development where it's like, to make things faster and easier for the artists, I'm good with it there. To go like, oh, well, AI is going to make the music and the art. It's like, hey, get the fuck off.
Okay, let's stop there.
Because the thing that I think people really need to understand is we don't have AI. We do not have artificial intelligence. The computer that is doing this is not intelligent. It is not being able to make things on its own. It is machine learning.
Yeah.
It is compiling a bunch of stuff and being like, cool. I think I can have a go at this now. It's like, yeah, sure. Now let me tell you, I've met many kids who you show them a bunch of pictures of stuff and you're like, okay, draw this for me now. And guess what? Just like AI, they fuck it up. You're, come on, I showed you like 50 pictures of fire trucks. Why has this thing still got like 3 wheels? And they're like, because that's how I drew it. And you're like, yeah, get fucked. Get out of here. You're never going to be an artist.
Oh. No. They definitely could these days.
And that's actually why I'm not allowed in prep classes anymore.
But hear me out, they could be artists these days.
But anyway, the point is that, so anyway, this little guy, I'm like, he's having a go at me. He's calling me shit farmer. He's telling me, you know, blah, blah, blah. Asking me if I'm even taking shit seriously. And I'm just like, listen here. You are a little man in a weird outfit, and I will beat you down. I spend my days in the mines hitting things with hammers. You think I'm gonna fucking take this from you, little squishy man? Anyway. But yes, so that was that day, and again, just one of those things. Oh, actually, there was one more big thing that happened during Coral Island. I finally gave Emma her papayas. I've been carrying them around for a while. I grew them specifically for her. I wasn't sure who she was.
Preppy could be an artist. Like that is definitely prep level.
I wasn't really sure who she was, but I eventually found her. Turns out she was hanging out in her house, and I gave her papayas.
I mean, it makes sense that she's hanging out in her house.
It did make sense, yeah. I guess at the time, I was like, yeah, okay, actually, you know what?
Yeah.
If it's a rainy day, I'd hang out at my house too. Or the bar. But no one was hanging out at the bar.
Well, that was unfortunate for you, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that was Coral Island. I had a good time. I insulted a little man. But as I said, game developers out there, if you're going to make a game and you're going to have me interacting with people, I need one that is like, I am aggressive because you've come at me, and I'm not going to stand here and be like,
oh, okay.
Okay. I'm going to be like, excuse me, let me just go get this stuff.
It's a blow up hammer. With a squeaker in it.
Like, yeah, you know what? Like, the other thing is, like, you know, I don't know if you've, well, okay. There has been times in my life, right, where, you know, like, they call it little man syndrome, but basically, like, because I'm not the tallest person in the world, but I'm relatively tall.
Well, we're above the average height.
Yeah, I'm 6'2", okay? I'm 6'2". I couldn't be a basketball player, but I could play almost any other sport.
I don't think you're 6'2".
I am.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's the actual measurement. Yeah, 6'2". I've technically, if I measure myself, it's like 6'1 3/4, but...
Well, yeah. I didn't think you were that much taller than me.
You're probably, what, 6'1.5"? Oh,
I measure at 183, 184 on a good day.
I'd measure at 185 on a normally, and about 186, 187.
Yeah, I'm 180. I'm 184.
But you also do have to remember that I am constantly slouching.
True, so do I.
Because but no, when I measure, it's just under. Like when I say just under, like it's maybe a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, so I usually measure right on 6 foot or just above.
Yeah, no,
just.
Really? You should be measuring at 6'1".
We're gonna have to test this out.
But if you should be measuring at 6'1", you shouldn't be measuring just under 6 foot. There's no way in hell.
No, just over.
Oh,
so it's right on or just over by a centimeter.
Centimeter is over half an inch, mate.
True. No, it's not.
How much is an inch?
Isn't it 2.3 something?
2.125 or something.
Are you sure? I thought it was 2.3 random other stuff.
It's not 2.3. I think it might be 2.25 or some shit like that. It's a weird number, but
2.54.
2.5.
So again, a centimeter is under half.
Just though. Only just.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's not if you're measuring 1 centimeter under, you are not that you are not anywhere near just being over. You're almost fucking there, mate.
No.
But anyway, no.
I'm saying I'm right on or just over.
If I were you, I'd make sure I'm wearing I'd make sure I'm not standing on carpet because they're stealing height from you. You are not.
True.
You are not under.
But also, having said that, just about everyone who's measured my height is shorter than me.
Yeah, well,
and that's the other thing.
But anyway, as I said, on a good day, I'm about 6'2". On a not so good day, I'm about 6'1.5".
Okay, fair enough.
And that's also like, I had this one person measure me, and they were slamming that thing down on my fucking head. I'm like, are you trying to make me shorter?
Fucking.
They'll get me on the soft side of their hammer. But anyway, so like as I said, like I'm not a small person.
No.
And I have had people who are like 5'10", 5'9", and they'll start talking. I'm like, I'm gonna do something that you are not going to like now because this is who I am. And they're like, oh, and I'll just like pick them up and move them out of my way. And I'm like, you want to act like a child? You want to be the height of a child? I will treat you like a child.
You want to be the height of a child, considering they're still above the average height.
But you know, like that's who I am. So if I'm in a game and my character does not have the option of humiliate little man, I'm like, no, I'm not. Where's my option to pick him up and just toss him in my pond?
5'9.5" is Australia. So technically, if you're picking up someone 5'10", they're still not short.
Listen here, little man. But I've done that. I've done that so many times, and like it's gotten to the point where it just happens. It just happens. Like I was there one day at work. This was back when I was working in the bakery.
Yeah.
And the other baker was just standing in my way, and I needed to get past him. So I just picked him up and moved him. And I was like, and I just kept walking. And then I came back, and he's still standing exactly where I put him. He's like, why? And I was like, oh shit, sorry, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
He's like, you just treated me like a piece of furniture. I was like, yes, yeah, my bad. And he was like, please don't do that ever again. I was like, okay, yeah, fine.
Fair call.
And the girls were pissing themselves laughing.
Of course
they were all out the front just seeing me go like, boop, boop. Just keep moving. Like it wasn't even a thought to me though, because again, that is who I am. I'm like, you know, and so like I'm used to dealing with it. I used to be a senior at my college, which was practically a fraternity, and it's like when the first years get mouthy, you just like, that's it. Over the shoulder with you,
fair,
and we're taking you elsewhere.
Yeah,
you know,
which I kind of find hilarious. You every time you say first year, for some reason I picture a small high schooler, like literally, as in just coming into high school, but so like super small. But then I realize like, no, these people have finished high school, and some of the people you're talking about have also gotten to the age where they're not growing anymore.
Yeah, so like you gotta like the thing you gotta understand is like the same way a year 12 feels when the year 7s come into high school.
Yeah,
is the same way that you feel as like a third or fourth year at university.
True.
When the fresh guys who've just graduated, they're all coming in, they're all swinging their thing around, thinking they're top shit, and you're just like, calm down. Like a bit, but I finished school and now I'm here, and it's like, yeah. So you've gone from big fish to little fish again. You gotta understand that, you little fish. It's like you have a lot more freedom now.
And then when you finish,
but still a little fish.
And then as you're finishing uni and you've become the big fish, you go into the industry, and then you're little fish again.
Little fish. It's a constant thing. And it's like maybe it's like, you know, we're graduating from the rock pool to the shoreline, to the ocean, then the deep ocean, and and then there's just some motherfucking killer whale who's out there for fun, just murking everyone.
Yeah.
Anyway, point is, games. I don't take shit in real life. I ain't gonna take shit in a video game.
Oh yeah, fair point.
Especially from a little man who's screaming at me about me not taking shit seriously enough. I take nothing seriously.
That's right.
And I ain't taking him seriously just because he's got a purple jacket on.
You wanted the purple jacket, didn't you?
Actually, no. It was very tacky.
I was very tacky?
If it was a nice, like, non-tacky purple jacket, like, maybe... It's like a purple overcoat, right? So it's, like, pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then he's, like, wearing it like the admirals wear it in One Piece. So, like...
Oh, so he's, like, not even...
And then he's, like, wearing it over... Yeah, and then he's wearing it over overalls. And it's just kind of like, listen. I understand what you're going for here.
It doesn't make sense with the overalls.
But,
now, if he had shown up in a sailor's cap...
I'm gonna throw you in the pond.
Yes.
Anyway, that was Coral Island.
Yes, indeed. And then...
As I said, I've made a new enemy there, and I know for a fact that the game is not going to let me ever, you know... I have to beat him through friendly competition and just being an upstanding person. I'm like, hey...
Or you can install a mod, and I'm sure someone's put brass knuckles in there.
I just want to throw the motherfucker in the pond. I have a pond. I also have a river. I can pick him up.
You know, not enough games have a defender straight button.
I don't want to take him into my house, so...
No, we go to his house, of course.
But
yes.
So that was Monday. That was Coral Island.
Yes.
Smashed it out. I was in fine form. In fact, there's probably an argument out there that I should only ever play games once I've had a big day, because I do get in finer form. I spend a lot less time being like, okay, let's do stuff, and I'm just spending a lot more time being like, listen here, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yes. I was thinking about what was going through, then I got distracted by a crocheted tank.
Crochet tank, baby. I've been looking at that this whole time.
I know, I just hadn't noticed it till just then. What the fuck?
Mate, make tanks out of crochet. They're far lighter than steel.
That's a fair point.
And you can't get bullet holes in something that bullets go straight through because it's full of holes.
I mean... Okay.
Bring back the World War One planes, where you could shoot them, and because they were just made of cloth, it was like, oh, we got to fix this. Done.
Yeah, just put a patch on it, yeah.
Now it's like, oh, we got to fix this. Take it to the engineers. They're like, oh, we're going to have to replace this whole fucking wing.
Shouldn't have got shot twice. But yes, anyway.
What do you mean you hit a bird?
Oh god, that did a lot of damage.
It does, actually. Birds do so much damage.
Far more than lightning.
For things that have, like, no solid bones in their whole body, God, they can fuck up a plane.
Yes. Yes, they can. Anyway, moving on. So Wednesday this week, not that I have much to say, but someone got lazy and didn't put anything out.
No, a short came out. I put a short out. So
I meant video, like a full-length video.
What happened, guys, was as this kind of... Did I explain this about the Coral Island where I got home on Saturday and was like, oh, fuck, I haven't filmed anything for Monday?
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I was like, cool.
It's actually pretty common with Coral Island, to be honest. Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, cool. Anyway, Saturday, Sunday happened. I got everything ready for Monday, and then on Monday I rolled up and I'm like, cool, let's do some edit. I don't have anything filmed. I was like, okay, here's my options, right? And you gotta understand this. Monday is not a good day for me. Like, it's just not a good day in terms of trying to get shit done, because I gotta be out of the house at like 1 o'clock.
Fair.
So I'm practically out from 1 till like 8 o'clock at night, and it's like, oh cool. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I come down. It's like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to edit. I'm like, okay, so normally what I do in that situation is I'm like, cool, film, then start editing.
Yep.
Go to work, come home, continue editing. That way I've got very little edit. That way I've got a bit of editing to do tomorrow, but most stuff's good. However, on a day like Monday, or on Mondays in particular, it's like I might get a filming done in the time that I have. I'm like, so then I'll be home at 8, and I have to start editing. Then I won't be finished till like 10, 11 o'clock at night. The first part of the edit, and I'm like, and then I'm going to have a big day tomorrow. So at about 10:30 on... Oh, and I was also like, and I have all this motherfucking homework to do.
Ah, yes.
I was like, so, I was like sitting there going like, so yeah, no. And I just went, no. I went, I'll put a short out and I will just take this one on the chin, because I was like, yeah. I was it was an executive decision. There's always that. But it was an executive decision, like, I'm not going to try and rush this and put out something that I'm not really happy with, because I also didn't have any clue what I was going to film.
Yeah.
2, I was kind of like, I'm not going to put all of this stress on myself when I don't have to.
Fair.
I'm like,
makes sense.
The reality is, I'll put out a video, it'll get like between 10 to 20 views. I'm like, or I'll put out a short that's gonna get like at least 200 views. I'm like, now they're very different, and I do actually prefer to put out normal videos because that's where we get all of our shorts from. But I was like, I'm not going to kill myself stressing over this when I have so much fucking other shit to do. And yeah, it's also it's end of term, which means I have a lot of people being like, oh, can we get extra sessions? And I'm like, no.
Oh, it is too. I forgot that it was end of term.
And they're like, oh, but we got exams coming up, so can we see more? And it's like, oh, look, I'll see if I can, but I'm not making any promises, because the reality is I have limited it for a reason. And you know, if you miss yours completely and it's not your fault, I might be able to be
lenient,
convinced into giving an extra hour to my job that I haven't agreed to. But that's circumstances must really be in your favor for me to do that, because I don't really want to.
I don't blame you. I really don't.
I don't really want to be going out and being like, cool, I've got 3 days now where I have to start at 1 o'clock. You know?
Yeah.
As opposed to like, I'm just kind of sitting here at the moment being like, I really don't want to do this fucking shit at the moment. It's like, I got my own shit going on. The last thing I need is going out to people and being like, cool, so how much work have you done since I last saw you? None? Cool.
Yeah, nice.
Because, as I always say to people when I work with them, this isn't my assessment. I don't give a fuck if you pass it or not.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't want to put in work, I'm not stressing. I'll sit here and be like, cool, what have you done since last time? Oh, nothing? Cool. Well, we're only going to get a little bit done today. Oh, but I thought we were going to get it all done today. No, but fucking... What are you talking about?
No.
I ain't answering your questions. I'm your tutor, not your fucking you. This is your assessment, not mine. Well, guess what? Now I do have assessments, and they take priority to yours.
True. Yes.
But yeah. So that's kind of where I stand with that. I'm just like, anyway.
Fair.
It's like, yes, I will always try and help, but if you had your session, you know, I understand where you're like, oh, we want more because, you know, we want to give them the best step forwards, but I'm also just like, they've had this session, they've now got to do a bit of work on their own, you know, because at the end of the day, that's how you pass things, that's how you do well. you've got to do the work. If you don't do the work, then it's never going to happen.
Yeah,
Because
pretty much.
it ain't my job to do your work.
It's true.
Yeah, anyway. And then Friday, today,
Mm-hmm.
when you're watching this, obviously the podcast comes out. There is nothing this Saturday.
No.
This is a Saturday off, thank
Yeah.
God, because I'm fucked.
He is. He really is.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's great. It's fucking great. It's great.
I don't believe you. I really don't.
Anyway, subscriber count is
370.
there you go. It's a number.
It
Let me
is.
tell you about that. Numbers. They number 5.
And this one ends in a 0.
They'll numberlate you. It's true.
I don't even know if that's a word.
No, it is. Trust me.
I don't think it is.
Mm.
You know what? I don't think it is.
That's what happens when you get numberlated. You get numberlated. It's one of those unique words where the description of it is its own own self.
Oh, if you type in numberlate into Google,
It probably comes up with number plate.
it does. It very much does.
Yeah, but that's because Google is uncultured.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, yeah. So basic, but yeah. What was I saying? Saying something. Oh yeah, guys. So yeah. I think that's gonna. I think that wraps up channel news.
I think it does.
Guys, it's I'm fucked.
Oh,
So-
we're
so
circling
that's-
back.
As you wondering, I foolishly said that I would do something that I really don't want to do.
I feel like that's more of an understatement still.
It's not really, because I was kind of like, at the time, I didn't know what my commitments would look like, so I was kind of being like,
Suppose.
I won't put myself down for the full amount of time. I'm like, and like,
Like, how many days are there again?
it's a 4-day tournament.
It's a 4-day.
I've agreed to do 3 days. I'm hoping I won't have to do 3 days though, because the 4th day is finals,
Yeah.
and so there should be less games played, and they really should put the highest ranked umpires on them.
Would make more sense.
I'm super just like, because there's some games where they're putting 3 umpires on. I've never done a 3 umpire game. I don't even know what my fucking role would be in a 3 umpire game, so I'm hoping to avoid those.
Fair.
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 As I said, I'm also hoping to avoid plating, but I don't see that. I over 2 days I have 6 games that I have to do. It would be odd for me to get out of them without having to plate. However, there are some people doing qualifications at this one, which I am not. I do not want to do the qualifications. I don't want to advance through the ranks. I am a player first, then a coach, and lastly umpiring. I kind of see it like, to be an when I umpire, it's kind of like the cost of me having fun. It's like, I can have fun, but then I have to go and do this thing that absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the people there are like, yeah, they're full umpires. They rock up, they got their umpiring stuff. There's like one guy who has like, these are my base umpiring pants, these are my plate umpiring pants. I'm like, wow.
Okay.
I didn't even have pants. I just got shorts on.
Yes.
And like, then he's like, and these are my plate umpiring shoes, and these are my base umpiring shoes. I'm like, dude, that's like, just in shoes, that's like $1,000 right there. You must love umpiring.
Are we over exaggerating with that one?
So umpires' shoes can cost up to $500.
Huh.
And they're all like wearing like full on umpire shoes, because so the ones that he has for,
So what makes them
plating,
umpire shoes?
so they've got a hardened toe. They are polished black cleat with studs in the bottom,
Okay.
and they are not a running shoe.
Well, no.
They are not for running,
No, fuck it.
because umpires do not run. But they're like, yeah, so they're a shoe that has some grip. They're like super high polished black.
Mhm.
They have a hardened toe or an extra toe plate in there.
Okay.
And then they will sometimes have an extra plate up on the actual top of the foot, because you are standing there while someone throws a ball at you at, 80, 70, 100 kilometers an hour, sometimes one of the umpires I was talking to was umpiring a game where the guy was throwing 137 kilometers an hour, and that's softball. Obviously, guys, if you watch baseball, they throw it harder and faster.
Yes.
But they also have a little bit more control on a baseball.
True. And
you're a little bit further away. In baseball, you are not allowed to promote yourself towards the batter as a pitcher. You do your step, and you're not allowed to jump like 3 feet forwards. Whereas in softball, that's sort of what they've all started doing now. So there's like a pitcher's plate where you are supposed to pitch from, but they all like jump off that, and like then they're pitching from like 3-4 feet closer, and like you're only pitching from like it's like 48 feet or something like that. So it's just like it's like 12 meters, and when you're jumping a meter closer, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's
they're just allowing this.
Well, back in the day, it used to be illegal, but too many people were doing it because it gives you extra felt speed. So you know how like when it's outside and they're talking about the weather, they're like, it's 20 degrees, but it feels like 30 degrees because of all the fucking humidity.
Yeah.
Well, baseball and softball have the same thing, where it's like they throw at 80 kilometers an hour, but because they're so close to you, it feels like 90 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
So it gives them an advantage. I disagree with it.
So do I, but that sounds fine.
I still think you should have to be in contact with the pitching plate. Like, that was a rule in baseball that so many people were getting pissed off with, because they're like, how are we supposed to stay in contact with the pitching plate? We start on it, we take this massive step forwards, and as we're stepping, our foot comes off it. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's kind of fair. Just don't jump off it. You're only allowed to step. You can't be like, let me throw myself at the batter. But yeah, softball seems to have taken the opposite direction, which is like, the pitcher's plate's more of a suggestion than anything else. It's like, pitcher's not. It's the pitcher's plate. It is their plate from which they pitch.
It's in the name.
It pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, no. So softball, to try and make it faster and faster and faster, you've got to come up with new methods and stuff like this. However, there's limits. There's always limits. Like we're seeing faster pitches in baseball. Most pitches are topping up around 100 miles an hour, 101, triple-digit miles per hour, which is massive in speed, guys. That's very fast. That is. But they are saying that like it's probably going to be almost impossible to top about 110. It could happen, but they're like a normal unsteroided up human doing 110. That would be interesting.
Yeah, of course it would be.
But only time will tell. If we, back in the 80s, they probably would have been like, people throw the average pitch, every pitcher being able to hit 100 miles. No, that's crazy. And now it's like a thing, if you can't put it up at that speed, you're probably not going to make it. No. But, softball's the same. It's just, the thing that annoys me is, by allowing them to do this leaping kind of crap that they're doing, it's like, why do we even have a distance then? Just tell them, go stand anywhere you want and throw it in from there.
Yeah, pretty much. Go for an angle.
Yeah.
Throw them off.
But, like, that's the thing. And it's like, the reality is, it's all about chasing extra speed, because if you leap and jump, you can get more momentum and the ball can travel faster. But
then it should be a thing that they pretty well can do that, but they have to land within a certain distance of the plate.
Well, my thing
that
is,
would be
you can take a big step forwards as long as you're still in contact with the plate. It's like, that's just something that you should have to do. And it's like, because the thing with softball, unlike baseball is this big step forwards where you're dragging. Softball is a step forwards and the underarm throw. So one of your feet doesn't actually have to move.
That is true, yeah.
And it's like, but they're doing this leap forwards where both their feet are moving and their feet are in the air at the same time, and you're just sitting there going like, what's the point?
Like, honestly, it's that is the only way that I would accept it.
Then my argument is this. Okay, then, move the pitcher's plate back another 3 feet so that when they do their leap, they're pitching from the correct distance.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like even doing the leap, it's like they have to land within, this far of the actual pitching plate. That would be, I think, ideal.
Well, I would just say move it back. And if you said this is the pitching distance, so that should be the distance from which they're releasing the ball. Not, and some of these guys can
they can jump.
Well, my average step is about 1 meter.
True.
Because I have a long legs.
Yes.
So if I throw myself forwards, I'm closing that 12-meter distance by almost 2 meters.
Yeah.
Which means that ball speed feels a lot faster than it actually is.
Oh yeah, of course.
And that's something that is all that's what the game has these rules in place for.
Yeah.
So that everything is fair. And I'm just like, it also kind of gives your pitchers a little bit more longevity because they're not trying to be, fucking stupid.
That's right.
Like, I cannot tell you how many kids I've heard walking around at softball being like, I've got a sore back. And I'm like, it's because you start your pitching so fucking curled up and bent up and shit so that you can get this explosive extra power instead of building muscle, instead of learning to do things the right way. You're trying to take shortcuts, and that's why you're getting hurt. But anyway, point is, for the next 3 days, I'm fucking umpiring. I'm hoping that, I can kind of get my games out of the way pretty early, and then I can have, hopefully, I'm hoping not to have one of the ones that ends at 5:30.
That'd be nice.
Just because that way I can get home earlier, and, For me, as I said, this is more or less of a thing of being like, I agreed to do it because I was like, I don't know how short-staffed they'll be.
Yeah.
But, and we there was an issue today where I'm not even there because I was there this morning doing all the morning stuff.
Yeah.
That I had to do, the ground rules, meeting everyone, and then just going and having a look around and seeing what's actually happening out there. And one of the umps went down. He wasn't he was really not well. Hopefully he'll be good tomorrow because he is one of the more experienced ones. So he's
true.
You lose someone like me and you're like, easy. I can just anyone can replace him. You lose one of your more experienced ones, you're like, oh.
I hope he's good at least by the last 2 days.
Pucker butt time because we need to find someone who can actually replace his role. But so I'm hoping if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm hoping for a 2-1 split on my games, where it's for every one plating I do, I get 2 bases, because that means that at least I'm doing the easier job for the majority.
True.
But I don't really know. As I said, if everything goes perfectly well and I get put in at the level that I actually should, I really should only be basing. I shouldn't be plating anything, but
fair.
But we
you get put in it. 100% will.
Oh yeah, it is not wise to live off hope, but
No, it's not.
It's just
yet we still do it.
Nah. But I'm the biggest thing, guys, and the big takeaway here is that I've just done I was trying to be a good person, and be like, okay, but I don't even know if I really want to continue on with the sport that much, and I want to be a player, I want to be a coach, I don't want to be an umpire, and the more I play and coach, the more I'm like, do I even really want to be involved in this?
You're fair.
Because, it's... We don't have the best association here. It's the same shit that was happening when I was a 15-year-old playing is the same shit that's going on today, where they can't... everyone's too cliquey and too fucking retarded to actually make the game work. And it's like, oh, well, we got to do favors for this person because we like them. It's like, get fucked. You don't do favors for anyone because that's fair.
That is true.
And it's like, and it doesn't matter if you are a brand new player or you've been playing all your goddamn life. the association should treat you both the same and respect you both the same, and ours does not. They're like, oh, but this person's this person. You're like, do I give a fucking shit? No. And that's where I run into a lot of trouble, and why I think I get asked to umpire a lot, because I do have that mentality of, I don't give a fuck if you are an under 13 playing or an A grade man. You will get the same level of respect from me. Whereas there's not that across the association, and that's really poisoning the well.
Oh, of course it does.
And it's like, you know, yeah. So when you've got that shit happening, you're just like, do I even really want to stick around in this fucking competition?
Fair. That's fair.
You know, like, again, and you know, it's the problem is with all things, it's not the world's biggest. It's not Australia's biggest sport at all.
It's true.
Which means that there's a lot of kind of clickiness in it. And it's like, oh, but these people have been, you know, this and that. And you're like, and you don't have enough of that kind of outside people who haven't really ever been involved in it, looking at it and being like, that's kind of fucked. Because you really only have the clicks, and they're like, oh, this person's brilliant. And like, so you end up where it's like, oh yeah, we went down to Brisbane and we met the Brisbane people, and yeah. And it's like, okay, I don't give a fuck. I honestly don't care.
Means nothing.
Clickiness has no clicks, and popularity has no point in sport. Sport is about getting out there and competing, and everyone, you know, doing their best, and, you know, everyone being gifted the same opportunities. And when you can't even do that, you end up with people like me who and I say this, you know, understanding that it's going to come off a little bit fucked, but people like me are the people you need to keep around your sport, because I am early 30s, so I'm not getting old and getting injured, and you know, the old guard that is just hanging on until the dying of the light consumes me.
Yes.
So I'm young enough that I'm likely to stay around for the next 3 decades, really, because let's be fair, that's where some of the older ones are. They're 3 decades older than me, and it's like, yeah, they're the ones that are on their way out, and we love their experience and we love to have them around, but they aren't the future of your fucking sport.
No.
It's your 30-year-olds and you know, the ones in the middle who are still working with the kids, still young enough that they're playing, still doing all the stuff, and will hopefully bring their own kids into the sport as well, because that's how you keep it going.
True.
But with all the clickiness and shit, you're not getting a new young life of this age in there.
No.
And the kids, well, the unfortunate thing with kids is that they all hit a point where they finish high school and they're kind of told, figure out what you want to do with your life. So, and for many of them, it's go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or start a job. And guess what? Jobs don't really, and kids, especially with jobs, don't really understand how difficult it is to transition from being in school, which is this very regimented, very time-free period of your life, to a point where it's like, we expect things of you.
Yeah.
You have to work hard. What do you mean you only want to work 6 hours a day? If that. No, fuck off. And so that transition, a lot of the ones who are just going straight from school into the workforce don't realize that it's not going to be like it was at school, and they go, oh yeah, sorry, I can't work. I can't come and play anymore. I work Saturdays, or I can't train anymore because, and when they can't train and they, you know, stop performing and stuff like that, they just fall out of love with it. And it's like, it's very hard to keep kids in.
True.
Especially in a regional competition. If we were in the city, it'd be a lot easier, because we'd have people coming from the regions as they hit that, you know, 18, 19, 20 years.
True, yeah. And
we'd be able to refill our stocks from there, but we're in the regions. We've got that age group moving out. And so it's the late 20s, early 30s mob that you want to keep around, because they're the ones that are more settled they're the ones that are more likely to, as I said, bring more young people into your clubs.
Yeah.
And they're just doing nothing to keep them. And, like, you get new people, and it's like... You know how people are really, really good at seeing clicks, and it kind of disgusts them, and they go, I really don't care for this anymore.
Yeah, they leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you come in and you see that kind of stuff happening, you go, oh, yeah, I know. So you might get a season out of them.
Yeah.
But you can actually see the enthusiasm dying over time.
Oh, yeah, of course you will.
And then
let's face it, the only reason they're continuing for that season is because they paid for the season.
Well, that's another issue. So I paid $350 for this season.
Yeah.
So I've played one game so far.
Yeah.
Now I'm going into a 3-week break before I get to play my next game.
Yeah.
So in the period of, 3, 5, 6, 7, in 7 weeks of the season, I will have played 2 games. And I'm paying $350 for a 12-week season.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's pretty fucked up.
No, that should be, 1, a lot cheaper, or 2, sorted out so there's more games.
Mm-hmm.
Like just about every other sport that goes, you're playing once a week at least.
They make a lot of, and again, this is where the clickiness comes in, they make a lot of exceptions for representative players.
Yeah,
so teams going away, stuff happening that's representative, and it's like, cool. Reps are your top tier players.
Yeah.
They're the top shit. Right?
Yeah.
But you can't base an entire competition around them, because guess what? That's one team. You're one team of the best.
Yeah.
Okay? Who are they going to play when everyone else is like, oh, fuck, I'm not paying this money anymore?
True.
Secondly,
at which point they stop
other ones that they do is for especially the senior men, the A grade.
Yeah.
They play in the evening when it's cooler. They honestly, fucking half of them don't even show up until they play, and they're not asked to do anything. And it's like, are you actually fucking... They're supposed to be the best at the game, the top of the game. Why aren't they out here umpiring? Why aren't they because that would be asking too much of them. You ask the same of everyone else. Everyone needs to be treated fairly, and this competition just can't. Which is, as I said, it's absolute bullshit, but that's what happens. And honestly,
Wait, so how many get asked to umpire?
So you need 2 umpires per game. There are generally 4 games going at any given time, and we start at about 8 in the morning and play through till about 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, depending.
Okay.
So there's 14s, 12s, 16s, C, B, and A grade men. So there's like 6 games a day. Sorry, no, there are 6 levels a day.
Yes.
Then there's at least 4 games per level. And so that is, you need a lot of umpires.
Oh, of course.
However, the same people get asked to do it over and over again.
Oh, true.
Which, again, it's just some high level BS, and it's just one of those things where you're like, again, if you want to keep a sport alive, if you want to keep anything alive, the first thing you have to do is be fair.
Yeah.
The next thing you have to do is understand that, oh, cool, you guys have been running this league for the last, however long. Excellent. But you're not the be-all and end-all. In fact,
no.
You're probably the reason the league is where it is at the moment.
And dying, yeah.
It's not a good position. It is not in a good position.
Because let's face it, the sports do die in these areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like fucking...
That's why I have to play softball and not baseball.
Sounds like it's a great way to say this, but like here, water polo, that's drowning. It's probably got another couple of years left in it, unless they can get enough people.
Well, again, and that kind of comes down to your experienced players.
Yeah.
So this is where it's like, I think my club is probably the best at this. We have a tendency to just be like, okay, we got new players, we got to teach them how to play the game.
Yeah, it's fair.
Other clubs have a tendency to be like, okay, well, we've got, like, if they have enough players, they'll make a good team and a bad team.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool, but your bad team, the people who are developing the skills and new to the sport, how long are they going to last in a team that is...
So they're going to stop going. Like, the more you... And that's the problem. They're going to stop going, because
that's kind of
if
what I
they're having, like, bad games constantly, like, where they're being decimated every time around, they're going to stop going because, well, I know I'm going to lose, and I'm going to lose by a lot. Whereas if it was, like, every time it was like, we've lost by 2 points, it's like, and well, hang on, that's not bad.
As experienced players, it kind of is your role and your job to make sure that the inexperienced players are learning and getting, doing things. And, like, there's a level at it where you're like, okay, yeah, I understand. We have to do this and we have to do that. But like at the end of the day, you're just gonna sit there going, the only way you can make this is to accept the new people and just work with them and try and make them better. And sometimes that means that people who are more skilled have to take on more responsibility of teaching people how to play a game, of doing something. And that sucks sometimes, because when you're focusing on what other people are doing, you can't really focus on what you're doing.
True.
And people go like, oh, well, you didn't do that thing you're supposed to do, and you're like, yeah, sorry, I was dealing with our new player and I was trying to run them through their scenarios. I know what I should be doing and I know that I have to focus on that, but I also have to try and make sure that our new players don't feel like we're just fucking throwing them out into the deep end and being like, good luck, sink or swim,
Very, very much like the last year I played basketball in school.
Yeah.
So, oh, by the way, this person's joining the team. He's never played basketball before. He's really tall. He's playing center. Kris, show him the ropes. It's like, we've just started a game. It's like so I had to show him the ropes while playing.
Yeah, and look,
the first game of the season. It's like, God, you couldn't have told me. We could have done some training at school.
Yeah, well, like I say this because it's the truth. You can't train for in-game moments. Like,
no, you can't.
You need to wait until those in-game.
But like, he also didn't have any experience, so it was the thing of like trying to teach basics during a game. It's like, oh, hang on, they should have been outside.
It's why I like to, like, as a coach, I like to sit there and like, if I have a new player, there comes a point where I want them sitting on the bench. Yeah. And I want them sitting on the bench not because they're new and there's better players out there. Yes, that does come into it, especially in close games. Yeah. But the reason I want them sitting on the bench is that is a point where they can watch the game, like, not just training, watch the actual game as it's played and ask questions.
Yeah.
And I can go, oh, well, we're doing that because of this, or X because of Y, all of these types of things. But as a new player, when you chuck them straight out into stuff, and the sink or swim mentality is always going to lead to sink.
Oh,
especially in, like, yeah. So,
yeah. Unless they're naturally gifted at it.
Yeah. But even then, so we have a new player who comes from cricket, so he's got a lot of the skills that you need. It's just the mindset, right? And that's the thing. And he's quick on the uptake and stuff, and he's probably going to be one of our really good players this season. But he still needs to, you still need to take the time out. You can't just look at him and go like, oh, he's doing great. You still got to take the time out and explain why things are happening and what to do in certain situations. Because the reality is, until a situation comes up, they're not going to know what to do with it. And the only time those situations are going to come up is in-game. However, you also can't take time off in a game and be like, oh, well, okay, so in this, and you've got to kind of be like, okay, so in this situation, this is the actual right play. We should have done this. Any questions, Whereas there's a lot of stuff where it's like, people just go, oh, rah, 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 and it's like, stop. Do you want the sport to die? And like, I just cannot see how they think that the league is going to survive under the current conditions, because we only have 4 clubs. We don't even have full teams in those clubs. And what I mean by that is there are levels that some clubs just don't play because they don't have any players for that level. And it's like, where do you think you are going to get these new player bases to keep this league going. Oh, well, some of the people who used to play are coming back. Yeah, but how long do you think they've left once? How long do you really think they're going to stay for when they realize that nothing has changed?
Yeah. It all depends on why they left in the first place.
It's like, that's it. And it's like, the other thing, and this is something that I'm always like really passionate about, especially when I'm coaching, is kids games. Man, you need to take those seriously, and you need to think about those really hard, because kids make very impulsive decisions about whether or not they want to stay at something.
True.
And kids like to win. And so if a kid doesn't think that they're in a team that can win, they will walk away from a sport completely. If they think that the coaches aren't doing everything in their power to allow them to win, they will walk away from the sport completely. They will not even think about it twice. They will just be like, yeah, I'm out. And they'll go find another sport where they can be competitive. You need to make the games competitive. You need to make the teams competitive. You need to make sure that everything is competitive. And there was a bit I joined last season. They've done one thing as an association, which I think has brought the competitiveness back, which is good, which is they've made 14s and 12s.
Yeah, okay.
Instead of just 13s and 16s. So now you get a little bit more of a spread of age groups, so that you're not a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old playing against a 13-year-old.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
You're not a... Because the thing is, and they go like, oh, but like a lot of these kids are just new as well. And it's like, yeah, but there's new and there's an age difference. It's like a 13-year-old kid or a kid who's turning 13, they're bigger and stronger than a kid who's turning 10.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's, or who's just turned 10. It's like, and that's a big deal. Yeah, and true. You need to kind of have them have that split so that you can have them the more gradual step up, because they finish T-ball at 10, and let me tell you about T-ball. Sometimes I'm looking at it going, oh, are we just wasting our time here? Because they are supposed to work on their skills, and it's like, I'm not seeing a whole lot of skills being worked on. I'm seeing stuff like, okay, we're going to run around a diamond and we're going to do this. It's like, where is the actual skill-based thing? How you move, how to, But anyway, I digress. The point is that I'm sitting there going, you go from that into competition.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you've gone from, we're just all here having fun, to competition, where you've got kids who are wanting to represent the state or whatever, and you're going up against them. Guess what? Kids scare easy today. And once they scare, they go, I don't want to come back. True. It's like, cool. So you need to have these different levels, but you also need to always be trying to make sure you're doing what's right for your team. You need to be making sure that, you're not sacrificing kids' abilities to win games to make it fair for everyone, because fair for everyone is good. That's what I said. Like, I like fair for everyone, but that's from a standpoint of setting up games and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And actually getting kids involved. And there's nothing worse, especially I see this as a coach all the time. There is nothing worse than when a kid doesn't have the skills and they always just get chucked into right field. Oh, they don't hit the ball out that far that often. It's like, the kid's not going to want to come back. No. That kid's not going to learn. And it's like, oh, but that keeps them out of the way of all the good players. And it's like, yes, but by bringing them in and having them interact with the good players more and not just sitting out there on their own, they will gain the skill.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, you need to balance that. If you've got a lot of kids who are not good at the sport, you kind of want to bring them together so that they can have a team where they learn. Where it's like, and that's what you do, you promote learning as opposed to competition. Whereas if you have a lot of kids that are good, those kids want to win. And they know they're good. Like, trust me, when you're playing a sport, you're good at it or not. You know what your capabilities are.
See, I knew with basketball I was only okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Too short.
just a tiny bit.
But anyway, so like, there's some things that like it just even in my club where they were like, oh, we're gonna split up the teams to make them more like, because we had 2 under-14 teams. They're like, we're going to split them up to make them and kind of interlace good players and not so good players. I'm like, there's a team that went to the finals last year, and you're splitting up those players. Those players are going to look around at their team and be like, why isn't that person playing? And every time they lose, they're going to be like, we had that player. And that's disheartening to kids. And so it's like, you've got to find this balance, but the balance has to be like, you know, can we put together a winning team?
You got to figure out which ones, like, they might have, like, some of the people on the good team might have just been like, they were good, but they weren't there to represent.
Yeah.
So you'll find that they're the ones that are happy to go to the lower team and help them out. And that's...
And I think you've nailed it better than I did there, where it's like, you look at the players who want to compete.
Yes.
Who are fiery and want to be there winning.
And they need to be on the same team.
You kind of need to pull them away from the kids who are learning, because they're the ones that, and it sounds horrible and like, oh, we'll just control the kid and don't let them snap, but it's like, they're the ones who are going to, get angry when a team isn't performing well, because they want to win.
Oh, and of course.
When you have 2 teams, if you see that the other team, the team that you're not playing on, is doing well and your team isn't, that's when you start to get really like, well, and as I said to people, that's where you lose players, not out of the sport, sometimes out of the sport, but to other clubs, because all the other club needs to say is, we take winning seriously. We understand you want to win, and we want to win as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's kind of thing. It's like, you have to understand that some kids are just there for fun, and that's great. But if if you've got 3 or 4 players who are fiery and they want to compete and they want to be there, you kind of have to build the team around that concept, because those are the kids who they're the kids who are going to stick around.
Yeah.
The ones who are just there for fun, they're going to stick around until they no longer have to, or
they get bored.
Yeah, and they're going to be like, I'm not coming back next year because I realize that I can just go and have a social life without sport. And you go, okay, have fun. But the ones who are fiery and actually want to win, they're the ones that will keep coming back. And so that's why you got to be a little bit careful with how you go about them, because, Yeah,
it was like when I was in grade 12, it's like I didn't want to be on the team that was serious about winning. Because about 3 of the people on that team were super uptight and didn't actually work as a team. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to play with them.
Well,
that's a different thing.
Here's a really good example that affects both of us.
Yeah.
When I was in year 10 playing basketball, and they came in and went, oh, okay, so we've got year 9s, year 10s, and year 8s.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to keep all the year 9s together, and we're going to make the year 8s play in the year 10s level.
Yeah,
and
which is a bit stupid.
What the fuck you talking? Oh, well, you see, all these year 9s are all the same age, so we think it would just be better if it's like, no, you take the best players from them and you put them into the higher competition.
Yes.
You don't go, well, we're just gonna take the smallest, weakest kids who most of them don't know much about basketball, and they're gonna go into the hardest competition, and it's like, cool, so you've literally sold us out.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
They 100% did.
And it's like, oh, why is
Because it was
older
2 people from grade 8.
Yeah.
2 people, that was it. Myself and one other person.
There were 4 of you.
There were 4?
There were 4.
I thought it was only 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then our thing was like, because there were 6 of us from year 10. And then it was like, oh, well, we've got to be fair, so only 3 year 10s will be on at a time with 2 of the smaller kids. And it's like, are you fucking...
Yeah, that was also stupid.
We could win this game if we played smart. No.
So if you put one of us on? Yeah, sure.
If you use them as subs, it's like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to roll the year 10s first, and then sub in the year 8s for rest subs. And it's like, oh, but then they won't get to play as much. That's kind of what happens when you put them in a better competition. Yeah. You should have again, as I said, and kids see that, and it was like, hate that. Kids
for me, it was a noticeable difference from because last time I played somewhat properly was back when I was in Mackay. At that point, had like 2 years break, and then it's like, oh, by the way, here you're playing with the grade 10s now, and it's like this is a whole different game.
Yeah,
well, it was a whole different game.
At that point, some of us have gone through our growth spurts, and so you got like kids like Cal who were fucking. He was
fucking tall.
He was head and shoulders above some of us.
Yeah.
In year 10, and to you guys, you guys are barely dick height to it.
Pretty much.
And it's like, you're going to be coming up against that. What are you going to do as a little kid? And it's like that's why we were like constantly being like, can we resort these teams? And they were like, no. And it's like the second that happens, and the second like as players where you come up to your coach and say like, can we do this? We think we have a chance of winning, and they go, oh no, we don't want to do that. And you go, cool. So you don't give a fuck if we win. You don't give a fuck if we win. If you don't give a fuck if we win, why are we even wasting?
Well, let's face it, that school didn't care about basketball in the slightest.
No school here cares about basketball. But what I'm saying is...
No. Some do, and it's at a certain point.
Oh, yeah.
So, for instance, the year that I left, the next year, they were really big on basketball.
Yeah.
So they were really big on winning and everything like that, and I had a teacher come up to me and say, yeah, no, you were in the wrong year. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, no, they're really big on it this year. It's like, huh?
Yeah. But, like...
Thanks.
Like... But my big thing is like I sit there and I'm just like, when the players and their kids are coming up and saying we want to win this, and as a coach you're saying like, that wouldn't be fair for everyone, and you go, cool, so you don't give a fuck.
Because ideally it wasn't fair to you guys, it wasn't fair to the grade 8s.
No, it wasn't fair to anyone. But like, and at the end of the day, you're sitting there going like, oh, but what's fair? And it's like, when I look at what's fair, I kind of start with my thing is this, right? Is it your last year in this competition? So for my argument, let's say it's my under 16s team.
Yeah.
Cool. 3 of you are leaving next year. You age out. Yeah. So you have to go play in the senior competition. So my concept is, what's fair for you guys? Because this is your last shot at this.
Yeah.
The little kid coming up who's like 11 or 12 and filling in for me, I'm like, you've got many years ahead of this.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of learning and living to do before you're... So what's fair for the kids who are about to move on?
Yeah.
And my answer is always to give them a shot.
Yeah.
To give them a shot at winning, and to give them a shot at, having what I had when I was a kid and being a champion and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Because it actually means something to you, especially when you're that young. And so it's like, is that fair to everyone else? No, but fairness is relative in this situation. In a team, it's relative. It's who do I look at and say, I need to make sure they're getting a fair go?
Yeah. And...
it's a hard balance.
Because
you're going like, I want to give these younger kids a go because they're doing us a favor, but I've also got to manage it so that I'm not throwing a game.
Oh yeah, of course.
And it's like, because if I go, well, we brought this little kid on because they came up and they let us play, and then they absolutely throw the game, and it's like, cool. The older kids go, well, the coach doesn't really care if we win or not because they're actively throwing the game. And it's like, that is a very, very hard line to walk sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And in my experience, it's always best to kind of err on the side of being the jerk who doesn't let a less experienced player play, because it's like, I can say, hey, thank you so much for coming up and like letting us, being on the team and doing odd jobs for me. Yeah. As a coach, I appreciate that. The reason you didn't get on today is that, everyone was feeling good. I can kind of give them some platitudes and be like, yo, thank you. We just didn't need you today. Okay. But it's really hard to say to your team, okay, guys, sorry, I ended up putting up a bad lineup and throwing a game. I just needed to be fair to the little kids sitting in there. Yeah. And it's like, to these kids who, this is their competition and it's their last shot at it, they go, well, we can see that you don't give a fuck. Yeah. And it's like, to me, I'm like, I have to show those kids, I have to show everyone involved that I actually give a fuck. I give as much as the fuck as them, because that's the only way I'm going to get good results from them.
Oh, of course.
And, you know, and then I do the same as an umpire, you know, it's like, I have no horse in this race. As an umpire, I am literally here to make sure the game runs.
Yeah.
But I have to give a fuck, because if I don't give a fuck, then why the fuck am I even out there? And I think that's the worst part about everything so far, is especially like this 3-day competition that I'm going into tomorrow, is like giving a fuck when you don't, or at least pretending to give a fuck. It's exhausting.
Immensely.
And, you know, and then just having to do all the shit right. That's the worst part to me. It's like having to wear the right stuff, and because it's a competition of this level, and it's like, I hate that. Yeah. I wish I could just rock up in a t-shirt and shorts and be like, cool, let's fucking do this. Let's get out there. Let's play. But it's like, no, everything's being graded. And I understand it from like a standpoint of, for the people who want to become higher level umpires and want to increase their skill, it's like, these are the playoffs, baby. These are the big days.
Yeah.
But for someone like me who's just sitting here being like, I'm doing this because I was asked, and I was like, hey, would you mind doing us this favor? Because if you do it, it actually makes it a lot easier on everyone involved, and saves, you know, in the world of softball at the moment, it wasn't always like this. It wasn't when I was a kid, but at the world of softball at the moment, the kids have to pay for the umpires. And when I say that, they have to pay to put them up in hotels and stuff like that. So having umpires who are local and don't have to have all these extra expenses added to it brings the price down for everyone, which makes it more affordable so that these kids actually get the opportunity. Yeah. Like, reality is, right, especially in the current economy, if they were to say, okay, you need to pay $1,000 to go away to this competition, a lot of parents are just going to be like, nah.
No,
you're not going.
Not unless they're at the level of like, oh, you are playing representative, you can go.
Yeah. And so stepping in, that's kind of one of the big things that I was like, okay, well, you know what, I actually fully agree with that. I don't think that a price point should be the reason you don't get to play the sport you love.
Yeah.
And so if I can help out, I will. But unfortunately for me, that means that I have to now partake in this side of it that I really don't love, and a side of it that I'm not really at that level.
True.
And it's like, it's an awkwardness that I feel, kind of, because I'm like, I'm going to be dealing with people who do take this seriously, who are like, yep, you know, as I said, fucking, they go out and they buy the umpire's gear. You know, I don't think anyone in that umpire's room has spent, you know, $500 on a glove. I have, you know, because I bought a new glove for this season. $500, sweet, awesome. I don't think anyone there has. They spend that $500 on umpire's gear. Yeah. Because that's what they want to do. But for me, it's like, I'm still a player first. I'm still a coach first. I'm an umpire last. Yeah. You know, I'm actually an umpire before I spectate, but that's because I don't spectate.
Fair.
So, you know, kind of like that's it. And it's like, I just like, I'm like, do I regret doing it? No, because as I said, that reason before of being like, I'm doing this because it feels right. I don't. Yeah. It feels right to keep that cost down for the kids, and if I can do something that helps that, I'm all for that. But it just also feels kind of shit, because I'm like, I didn't want to get involved in all of the actual, like, this is a state level thing. So the umpires there are all Queensland state umpires and stuff like that. I'm like, I really didn't want to get involved in that shit.
Yeah, it's understandable.
And
I wouldn't want to either.
I'm like, but, you know, at the end of the day, I'm like, maybe, you know, maybe it makes a difference, maybe it didn't at the end of the day, but that's the reason I did it. And I was like, and that's the reason why I will complain and I will bitch, but I still fucking did it. I still put my name down, because I was just like, you know, like, I've been there, I've seen, I haven't been there. I was fortunate enough that, you know, if I ever actually wanted to do something, I was given that opportunity. But, you know, I've seen some of the prices for school sport now, and you go, holy shit, before you even, just to get paid, like, just to apply for this tournament, before you've bought uniforms and equipment and accommodation stuff, it's $300, $400, $500, and it's like,
It was back when I played. I played club basketball once. $60, and then it was just $6 per game. That was it. That's legitimately all I had to pay.
yeah, and like you
which
looking at
is
these,
because
you're
you're
looking at these
full
costs, and then they go like, okay, so it's $400 before you even pay for anything. But yeah, so you're looking at so much money, and then you got travel, accommodation, food, like all these little extra things, and you're just like, that should never be the limiting factor for people participating in sport or people, getting these opportunities. And it pisses me off so much, especially here in Australia, because it's like, oh, you play for this sport, that's going to cost you like let's be real, like rugby league. Oh, you play rugby league? Oh, that's going to be like $100. It's like, why is that 100 when I'm paying $300-$400? Oh, well, they're subsidized by the government or by this organization or by this. And it's like, so they get the opportunity to do the sport they're good at and the sport that they love at a cheaper price point because it is, and we're paying through the teeth because, that's what it actually costs these days. And it's like, that's right. And it's like, that's bullshit. And it's like, oh, yeah, but, that's just how the world is. And it's like, yeah, but, where's this whole thing of, what they all say, or giving kids their best opportunities? It's like, no, you take the opportunities from some to give it to the others. And that's bullshit.
Some of it.
Especially when it's like just the schools, and the schools are like, oh, well, we actually make it cheaper. Oh, how did we make it cheaper? Oh, well, pretty much all the other sports pay a bit of theirs as well.
Yeah.
Get fucked.
That stops that shit.
Yeah. But, I'm just like, so as I said, I will bitch and I will moan and I will not be happy about it. Again, not super pleased at the idea of having to wear the fucking full uniform out there because I don't do that ever.
No.
One, I don't feel like I need to, and two, I don't feel I'm ever umpiring at that level that I feel the need to wear the full kit. But I'll bitch and moan and complain about it, but at the end of the day, I agree to it, and I don't really regret agreeing to it. Because I'm just like, I kind of wish when I was, that age and going through that more people had been like, we'll give these kids the best opportunity.
Yeah, it's understandable.
And, I'm not saying there weren't those people around, but I'm just like, maybe if there were more of them around, maybe I would have stayed in the sport longer. Maybe I wouldn't have left the second that I had kind of had the out of it. Because I was like, I don't give a fuck anymore because it doesn't feel like anyone gives a fuck about me.
Yeah.
And so, you just walk away from it. But, I don't know. As I said, I'm going to have a fucked weekend. It's going to be fucked, but, hey, I do these things to myself.
Yes.
At least it's only like a week before school holidays.
Yeah, that's fair. I forgot it was school holidays soon.
Oh, dude, let me tell you, it can't come at a better time. Because once I hand in my assignment tomorrow, I have 2,000-word essays to write.
Not bad.
As I said, got about 2-3-ish weeks to get them done. I look at a 2,000-word essay as about, okay, that's 2.5 hours of work there.
Yeah.
So I was like, I should be able to get that done. It's just a pain in the butt because I do not like either of them. No, that's a lie. One of them I don't really have a problem with. The other one I'm just like, this is a waste of everyone's fucking time. And
it's a lot of that.
When you go in, and it's the worst thing you can do, because when you go into an assignment with that mindset, it's like, that's all you're going to be thinking about. You're not going to do it properly, but I'm just like, it is.
I know, it's hard. It's like, for me, it's like one of my questions in one of the assessment pieces I've got is like, explain how the blood flows through the heart, and they wanted details, and it was like, this is to become a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. I don't need the ins and outs of how the heart works.
No, you do.
Generally, I would say yes, how it pumps the blood around the system and helps disperse certain things like oxygen and other nutrients. Fair enough. But the fact that it goes into this ventricle, it goes from there over to here, and then from there to there, and then from there to over to the lungs, back to the heart, back to here, that's too much.
Yeah. Look, it's
it's a level of ridiculousness.
Yeah.
And as I said, often I just don't agree with it. I'm like, I honestly don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You like, one of these assessments is like an autobiography, and I'm like, honestly, for me, okay, that sort of makes sense. I'm like,
Yeah.
for most 18-year-olds who are coming out straight out of high school, write an autobiography. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. They haven't even lived long enough.
What have you done?
to,
I've been in school.
to consider themselves writing an autobiography. It's like, at least for me, it's like, yeah, I've done a lot of shit. I've probably done too much shit for my age, but I've done it. It's been done.
Yes.
I have a lot of stuff to write about, but it's like, yeah, it's a stupid assessment, and I cannot get behind it. But again, it's a stupid subject, so I think it's like teaching youth or something like that, or it's one of those like ones where it's like teaching youth, and it's like fucking teaching youth isn't hard.
Yeah.
Fucking be stern with them and slap them around the head a few times.
Done.
They will learn. It's like, no, but we gotta treat them like they're special. Why? So that they can get slapped down when they're 18 and then
Aren't you going to get taught how to teach them how they're special?
get addicted
It's all
to
with
alcohol.
different pronouns.
And it's like, get fucked. I'm like, part of a teacher's job is actually preparing kids for the real world. And guess what? The real world doesn't give a fuck about you. And you need to learn
Let's face it, school doesn't do that anyway. But,
you're not special. There is nothing special about you. You can be special, but that takes a fuck ton of work. And that's the reality that these kids need to be taught. Not, don't worry, you're a precious snowflake and the world will protect you. No, that's why we have such issues at the moment. We have too many people come through being like, but aren't I special? Hey, no, sorry, love, you're not.
No, yeah, you're below me.
It's like,
you've just entered this role.
We'll be the same. Everyone be the fucking same. And
yeah,
I'm sorry if that upsets you, but best be getting used to that as soon as possible. Because when you don't get used to that, you become a Disney adult. It's like, do you want to be a Disney adult? No. No one wants to be a Disney adult.
Am I going to sit there and watch an occasional Disney movie?
Oh,
Absolutely.
No, that's not a Disney adult.
No.
Disney adult is someone who goes to the parks and interacts with stuff made for kids and then gets pissed off that kids are interacting with them.
Yes, I'm aware of what it means. I'm just saying the most I'm going to do is watch the movie.
It's not comparison.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's at the very other end of the scale.
It's like, I am someone who might sit down and watch a Disney show, but that does not mean that. And like, I want to go to Disney World. That's one of the things that I want to do. I want to go there. I want to see what all the hubbub's about.
Fair.
And I want to ride on
some of the rides.
I think it's Space Mountain, the one that I want to ride on.
Probably.
But what I don't want to do is I don't want to go into the kiddie play area and be like, ha 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 ha. No, kids, I'm playing with them. Get fucked.
Shit.
I want to go into the kiddie play area and beat those people who are doing that.
With the soft side of the hammer.
Soft side of a hammer. Because, I think the funniest thing is like, yes, I want to go to Disney World. I want to see what the hubbub's about. I want to have a memory there.
Yeah.
What I don't want to do is take away from the kids who's like, this is a core memory for them.
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from their experience of this magical, wonderful world where, because, as an adult, you go there and you're kind of like, oh, I can see the other side of it. You kind of see Snow White walking around and you go, the girl dressed up as Snow White's hot. You don't think, oh, that's Snow White. You go, that's a hot lady. That's as an adult, whereas a child goes, wow, that's a princess. That's a So I don't want to detract from their event from going there, but I want to go there and just be like, okay, what's the deal, Disney? Show me this most happiest place in the world, because I've been places. And let me tell you, I had a good time there.
Fair enough.
And if you can't compete with that, well, we're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
Can't be claiming shit that's not real. As I said, I want to see what the hubbub's about. I don't want to go there and ruin children's times. I don't want to dress up as a, in Disney paraphernalia. I don't want to set a fucking mouse ears on my head.
You sure? I can see you wearing them.
Dude, okay, let me.
Yeah.
I'll be real with you. If they go like, oh, here is a Dodgers hat that has mouse ears attached to them, because I have seen those, I'm like,
yeah, you
I might wear a Dodgers hat with mouse ears attached to
Yeah.
it, as long as they're Dodgers mouse ears. But I ain't fucking gonna be like, oh my god, I've got like spotty mouse. No, fuck off. I'm an adult.
Fair enough.
And I ain't gonna go in and be like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm gonna be like, I'm a fucking adult. Allow me to adult all over this place.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's
it. I want to go there because, one, they say they have the best rides, right?
they do.
And I don't believe that. I believe that there's better rides out there.
Probably is.
But, people go like, oh, I remember this one time on Big Thunder Mountain. You're like, okay, hang on. Tell me about this ride.
Yeah, fair.
And the other thing, it's like, I want to go there. I want to go and I want to go and see the Millennium Falcon. Even though apparently that's all getting pulled down because, you can't destroy Star Wars and then be like, we love Star Wars. So people walk in and be like, no, you don't.
You
What
really don't.
the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, yeah. But anyway, guys, as I think that's time for us to call it a day. I've got to go and work. That's fun.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Kris. No, he doesn't have anything to do. Anyway, guys,
I do.
thank you for joining us. If you like the video, consider liking, sharing, commenting, or subscribing. If you haven't already, it really does mean a lot to us here. If you want to see more from me and Kris, check out the rest of the channel. We have a whole variety of videos where we play video games or we talk in the podcast or whatever. Check it out. You might enjoy them. But guys, until next time, I've been Darcy. That is Kris.
Indeed.
And we will catch you next time right here on the channel. Until then. See you later, guys. Have a good one.
See ya.